are back for the 4th annual Mental Wealth Expo, and this is my 4th year with my good brother Charlamagne and Dr. Alfie. So you guys give them a round of applause for this. So I have the honor of moderating this great panel today, and this is always one of my favorite panels to moderate. And today we're talking about the evolutions of men's mental health. And I think this is a great opportunity for us to talk about how mental health has progressed and how it has shifted for men. I am excited to see more and more brothers being open about their mental health and having these discussions. So we're going to take this time and want each panelist to introduce themselves, which you do very quickly, so we can hop into this discussion.
I'll start. Hi, everyone. My name is Darian Hall. I am the founder of Heal House and the Heal House Foundation. Heal House started out as a physical studio in Brooklyn where we were doing everything from yoga, meditation, therapy, and that work is continuing on today, and I'm just happy to be here to speak about the work.
Hi, everyone. Dr. Akeem Marsh here, Bronx born and raised, New York-based psychiatrist, child, adolescent, and adult. I work in a mental health clinic a few blocks north in East Harlem, and also teach at New York University, and honored to be here.
What's up, everybody? My name is Michael Tennant. I'm from Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. Bed-Stuy in the house.
You pause on that one.
I'm the creator of the Actually Curious Conversation game and author of The Power of Empathy, and my mission is to make practicing empathy mainstream. Thank you.
Let me see if this works. Any Canadians in the building? Yeah, see, I tried that last year, it didn't work either. My name is Trent Out Loud. I'm the only Canadian in the panel. Do not play Not Like Us, all right? I am an entrepreneur, podcaster, YouTuber, but more importantly today, I am a huge mental health advocate. I was diagnosed with being bipolar in 2018. I wrote a book about my business journey and implemented mental health and talking about that. And I'm on a panel with experts, but I am you guys. I'm here representing you guys as just somebody who loves mental health and loves to speak about it and ruin the stigma around the mental health space.
Thank you, Trent. And also, Trent is Drake's first cousin. So
that is not true. I shouldn't have braided my hair today, man.
You know I got to make it light, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Because mental health can be heavy to talk about.
Hell yeah.
You know, so and I love seeing black men laugh and just really enjoy. So always enjoy our time in the green room, just having these.
And you just like giving me a hard time. Just be honest with them.
Yeah, because our discussion was about Drake. You know, how does he move forward? All those. But anyway. So the first question is, how do societal expectations of masculinity affect the mental health of black men? And I think that's a layered question to open up with, because I think for most of us as black men, we identify ourselves through certain norms that have been that's attached to what masculinity is. And for most of us, we've learned that masculinity isn't about crying, it isn't about opening up, and isn't about vulnerability. So how do you think, Doc, from your teachings and from what you're finding from encounter with black men and what society has sort of constructed, how does that affect black men's mental health?
So it starts with the whole man up, don't cry. And then as a result of that, we tend to bottle up the emotions, and it builds and builds and builds. And then at some point there has to be a release, and the only acceptable emotion from society is anger. And so, you feel me, it's like it ends up just kind of being a vicious cycle, and we're not actually able to express ourselves in a healthy way.
Yeah, definitely. I would add to that men actually want to be able to have the space to be able to talk about their feelings, right? I think the work that I do with Heal House, it really started from me being vulnerable about meeting my father for the first time, and I had posted about it on social media, and it opened up all these conversations with other men, and they saw me being open, and it allowed them the space to be like, oh man, me too, like I didn't know my father, I've gone through these different things. So I think, what I've seen happen in the last few, years, with the acceptance of it being okay to be vulnerable, to have these types of conferences and conversations, it allows us to be fully realized humans, not just one part of masculinity. It's all these different things, right? And all the different emotions. And I think that's good for us, in terms of our health, being able to express all the different things that we go through and not keeping it bottled up.
Yeah, 100%. My origin into becoming a full-time mental health advocate was actually through losing two of my brothers back-to-back in 2019. I lost two of them within 3 months of one another. The second one, he was an Army veteran. He was, he was the alpha in the family. He was the alpha male. He wasn't alpha. But, and he, we didn't even know he was sick. We lost him, maybe it went down over 2 weeks. And what I got completely fixated on, both of them died from heart conditions. And heart disease is the #1 killer of men, period, let alone also the #1 killer of black men. And what I got fixated on is how long these two strong, wonderful, gentle men went through their lives without being able to release what they were holding on their hearts.
That's it right there. So to answer your question, it is draining on black men. But the therapy that helped save my life is cognitive behavior therapy, and that's what I'm a strong advocate of.
CBT model.
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know what cognitive behavior therapy is, I'll just tell you quickly an analogy. Like, if you walk out of your house and if you make a mistake and you put on an Air Force and a Jordan, you'll think in your head, oh my gosh, I messed up. People are gonna think I'm, I don't want to use words, but you know what I mean? They're gonna think that I made a mistake, and you think negative. But cognitive behavior therapy makes you, or trains you, or helps you think positive, like, yo, I did a good job today. I did this. How can I make this make me look more fashionable? So to answer a second part of your question is, yes, there is a lot of societal pressures on black men, but let's not think about that and think about it in a positive way and not think about the pressures. Does that make sense?
Reframe.
Exactly, reframe it. See, that's why they're the professionals.
listen, y'all are on it. The reframing and the CBT is spot on. I want to say this to the brothers that are here. I think one of the ways that society has really affected black men is thinking that you have to be a lion all the time. Thinking that you have to roar. Listen, brothers, I think when you understand that there's much duality in life, meaning that you can be a lion and a lamb, and that the lamb is not that you are weak, but the lamb is that you have an ability to understand when your strength, not that it's not necessary, but in this space, it's not required. Sometimes you just need to be. You don't have to solve a problem. You don't have to fix anything. And I know that we love to beat our chest, but can I tell you, we're beating our chest and it's taking us to our grave. Because what is happening is the inability to process causes internal issues within the organ, and study shows because we can't talk, men, it causes heart issues. When you can't flow emotion, it causes issues of to sort of create a blockage in your body physically. This is why mental health is just not about disorders, it's about your lifestyle. If you're all work 24/7 and you don't have the ability to rest, I assure you, you're gonna end up in a mental health crisis.
Facts.
So this whole thing that we gotta be hard. Man, listen, I am at a place in my life, you know what, go ahead. Okay. Because we feel like we often have to fix things. Right. And I think that's causing us to feel a lot of pressure, which takes us...
Let me actually add to that, because I went through one of the hardest moments in my life this past year, right? In terms of, when we spoke about this last time we saw each other, as an entrepreneur, like managing everything as a business owner, personal life, all these different things. And I always had this mentality of like, I had to figure it out on my own. And even though I have amazing loved ones and family and fraternity brothers, I still felt this need of like, I got to carry everything on my back, right? Mm-hmm. And I got pushed so far that it was like I had to surrender to like, no, Darian, you can't do it all. Like you actually have to, you know, reach out to your family and let them know you need help in this moment, right? And that was extremely uncomfortable for me, extremely uncomfortable, right? But I had no choice, right? And I was so glad that I actually did that because it was a learning process for me, right? That I do have family, I do have support around me, that I don't have to carry everything on my back. And I would say that to every man, and not even just every man, everyone in this room, to make sure that you're not shouldering everything, you know, yourself. That find the people, whether it's family, friends, loved ones, that you can help maneuver, you know, this thing called life that we're all managing, right? So I had to learn that for myself as well.
Man, and I'm glad you brought that up, Darren. And which brings me into this next question is, what you just said, getting to a place where you're saying, I don't have it together. And I think for many of us brothers, we need moments to just fall apart. Moments where you just break down in a safe space and in a place that's not gonna judge you. How do we encourage that, Doc, to encourage men to just say, man, it's okay that you don't know. You know what I mean? When I was counseling couples, you know how many brothers that were struggling to tell their wives that they didn't know? I'm like, you're going the wrong direction. Yeah. And how do we encourage these brothers to get to a place where it's not just about their masculinity, it's not just about their, you know what I mean? How do we get them to a place to where they can accept that they need not just help, but they just need support?
Yeah, it's quite a challenge based on how we're socialized, but I think circumstances like what we have here today, like having these conversations, building up our own social networks, going to different community events, connecting with brothers, and also even above and beyond all of that, kind of encouraging each other to check in with ourselves, like, you good, bro? You good? And then the immediate response usually is like, oh, you know, yeah, of course. And then we stop right there. Are you really good? Tell me more. I want to hear the long version. And we got to check in with our loved ones when we do that as well, you know, because it's like all we got is each other at the end of the day.
Yeah. Trent?
I love
listen,
this.
And you have a sort of like hip-hop, pop culture audience.
Yes.
How do we get brothers that are involved in that culture to be more vulnerable and open about needing support?
Yeah, well, like events like this that Charlamagne and Dr. Alfie put on is definitely one. But the thing that I like to tell people when I'm at conferences and talks like this, instead of just, you know, coming out and saying, yeah, it's okay to ask for support, think about it like this, right? How many of you out there, with a show of hands, how many of you have a mechanic or a dentist or a personal trainer? How many of you out there have a therapist? All right, I love that, right? But so it's okay to say, oh, my car needs fixing. I'm going to go to my mechanic, or my, you know, I want to. We were talking in the back about, you know, an NFL player or a basketball player. Oh, I want to learn how to jump higher. I want to build. It's okay to say, you know, things aren't. I'm not feeling good. I want to get a diagnosis, and I want to know how to get through and work through this thing that we call life. You know what I mean? So it's the stigma around saying that we need support is what we have to abolish and get rid of. And I think getting a therapist should just be the same way as saying I need a dentist, or I need a mechanic, or I need whatever it is, you know. And I think that will definitely eliminate the stigma from him.
Can I just add on something real quick to, as far as like the hip hop audience? I actually like to listen to the music that, you know, the young people are into, and anybody who I'm working with. And then if you pay attention, people will drop little mental health related themes and snippets in there, and then just kind of pointing that out. Like, listen, they're talking about depression, they're talking about suicidal thoughts, and then use that as a point of conversation to continue. Like, is that something you've ever going through? And then take it from there. And that's one way to connect.
Well, the booth has become a lot of artist therapy. Like, true story. Like, the booth is where they're doing their processing, and they're unpacking through their lyrics. The challenge is that kids are hearing it, they take it on and make it their reality, not knowing this is somebody processing their pain.
I mean, Kendrick Lamar's last album was a therapy session, right?
Exactly.
And I think that's beautiful that artists now feel more comfortable, expressing that through their music. I mean, Jay-Z's last album, 444, like there's a lot of artists that are speaking more to that, and it's becoming more common, which is, I think is great for all of us in society in general.
Pick up on that.
I mean, I think that when we talk about getting away from the stigma, we have to actually put effort into flipping the script, flipping the narrative. It takes real courage to show up in your strength and with softness at the same time. If you, as a man, you think about the men in this room that have left a mark on your life, oftentimes it's someone who's able to show you both strength and softness at the same time. So it's not that we don't have the examples, we just need to elevate those examples. The one other piece I wanted to say about this is when I started to take real serious care of my mental health, I went from someone who was working for people to someone who saw that the people I was working for were not valuing me, to me channeling my own value into making things that reflected my beliefs and what I saw needed to be in the world, and wealth's come from that. So it's not even just when you work on your mental health, you work on your self-belief, and you work on a structure that allows you to show up consistently in that self-belief, and that leads to riches.
You know what's another thing quickly? Yeah, got that. You know what's another thing quickly that I think we need to do in the mental health space is also intertwine it with some cool stuff and not just only talking about mental health. Like I had DeMar DeRozan on my podcast. I tried to get him up here, but he is busy. But when I was there, it wasn't just mental health questions. I mixed in the sports with the mental health, right? So we need, like at this event here, we need to have like Sexy Red performing, we need to have the baby performing, and then talking about mental health and mix it together. So, yo, man, I love Sexy Red and Glorilla, you know what I mean? But it's like, you know what I mean? We need to.
This is when the moderator steps in.
Nah, but we need to bring some fun to it, man. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. I'm messing with you, Trent. I'm messing with you. You know.
That's right.
Y'all got to know Trent, because Trent gonna go there.
I keep telling Dr.
And I don't oppose the Sexy Red and Glorilla. Actually, Glorilla has an amazing album. That just came out.
No, it's fire.
I grew up outside of Memphis, so I'm not ashamed to say I'm a fan.
I keep telling Dr. Alfie Hearn I need to start a podcast called Trifling Therapy, where it's like you're mixing in both. You don't just want to only hear about mental health. You need to mix it in, and that's
we don't want to danger anyone by calling it trap therapy or.
I got you.
Next question.
Let's leave the trap
Next
therapy
question.
alone.
Yes, let's leave it there. We want to make sure that people leave healed
It's a mix,
and not re-traumatized.
I'm
So
on the journey.
I want to add this component as we close out. One of the things, black men that are here, how many brothers in here that are over 35, the age of 35? All right, myself included. So the reason I bring that up, and as we close out, I want you guys to give a closing statement to the brothers, because study shows men don't make friends after 35. Men are struggling with community. Women do community well, and we're dying because we're often operating and living in our silos. I tell brothers, that Lone Ranger mentality, well, it's just me, I don't deal with nobody, bro. You know what I'm saying? Brother. And I'm telling you because I've been in the mental health space for about 10 years, but the world came to know me a few years ago. But when I left the NFL over 20 years ago, and I survived not one, but 2 suicide attempts, the second one being a drug overdose 11 years ago. And the reason I say that is because had you saw me with a helmet on, you wouldn't have thought anything. But I can tell you, when football was over, I did not have community. And so there are brothers that are showing up every day to work, showing up at home, wives, girlfriends. You'll be surprised of the men that you're sitting by that are lonely, that they feel like they don't have anybody to support. So as we close out, I want each of you to speak to that brother, because we often talk about breaking the stigma, but there is an epidemic that is happening amongst men right now. And we're not aging well because we don't have community. And when you don't have community, you don't have a place of belonging. And so when you find yourself in a crisis, you feel like I have nothing to live for. That was my thing. I couldn't play ball no more. I didn't have it. I thought I didn't have an identity outside of the helmet. And I found myself overdosing in my room by myself. And the thought was, I don't have anybody. So can you guys, as we close out, speak to that brother that is sitting here today. He's motivated. He may or may not go to therapy, but close out with how important it is to find community.
Yeah, I would say, first of all, let's commend all the brothers that are here today, right?
Yeah.
Like,
woo!
You know, to your point, like a lot of times it was like the women and black women that have been shouldering so much, but like I've just seen in the work that I've been doing the last couple of years, like more men showing up. So just even the guys that are here, you look around, this is community right here too, right? So like the guys that are in the audience, like connect with someone, right? And then also I would say Heal House was literally started to create community. So that's, you know, the work that I do, you guys can look Heal House up, but even doing something like this is community, connect with people, and you know what Charlamagne and Dr. Alfie is doing with this, it's to help address what you're speaking to, right?
One of the things that comes to mind that could really help out is mentorship, and that is a lot of us might have had mentors over the years, but for those who haven't already done this, I would encourage you to become a mentor yourself, because that's another way in which community could be built, and that could really sort of help close the loop on this whole loneliness epidemic.
When I started down my healing journey, one of the biggest things that helped me was being a part of a men's group. A group of 7 men, we meet every Tuesday. The problem is I was the only black man in that group. And so I spent about 1.5 years not really accepting the love and support from that group because I didn't think that they could relate to me. So one, I want to say is if you find men who are like-minded and are working on themselves that you're inspired by, take that inspiration. But also to my black men out there, let's squad up, let's get in the group, let's get in the circles, and let's make a habit out of sharing what's going on with ourselves.
I don't know exactly how to tell you how to do it, but what I could do is share how it makes me feel. And these brothers up here know, as soon as we got the email and I was told who I was going to be on the panel with, I DM'd all of you guys. Hi, I'm Trent, what's up? When we get here, let's go out, have dinner or whatever. I was the first one in the green room this morning at 8:45 because, Jay, stop it, all right? But because I love people, I love being around people. It literally gives me energy. I was sitting down in my hotel room, and part of my therapy is I got to learn how to try to be bored, which is very, very hard for me. So I was sitting in my hotel room instead of being like, I can't wait for tomorrow, I can't wait for tomorrow. Literally, like woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, is it time yet? And I was down here, I was with the security, and I just love it. You know, I'm telling you, I swear to you, it fills me up and just speaking with people and just getting that energy from other people and learning about different people's backgrounds. So I can't tell you how to go about doing it if you don't like it, but I can tell you it is very, very, very fulfilling. I had a problem with alcoholism, and I was smoking a lot, and I still drink a little bit, but just being around people, and especially around good people, it is the biggest high that you'll ever be on, higher than any drug.
Yes.
Thank you. I can tell you that.
Go ahead, brother. Did you have something to add?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you sure?
Yeah, I was just gonna say it'll boost your dopamine levels. That's what came.
Yeah.
That's the compound that makes you feel good. And people use other things to substitute for it, but nothing beats good quality relationships with other people, because we are social beings. We are meant to be in community.
Yeah. So in closing, to what the doc said, brothers, and I want to share this last few minutes. I want to see brothers not have to drink their peace.
Or smoke.
What else?
Right.
I want to see brothers that don't have to smoke their relaxation or their joy. Mm-hmm. And here's why I'm saying that, brother, because we'll self-medicate and we were anesthetized. And when you begin to anesthetize, other things are metastasized, meaning that other things grow, other things evolve. For the past 3 years, Jess Hill Bro was a tour that I created from my book. It's out there today. It's a journal, because I'm the only boy, grew up around girls, I have 3 sisters, and so I didn't have a voice. And so my tagline throughout that book was, the man who finds his voice finds his way. Yeah. Brothers, you have to find your voice, because I know what it's like to be in a relationship and feel like you can't express yourself. I know what it's like to feel like if you open up, and again, I've said this every year for the ladies that, you know, it probably wasn't here last year. The fear that we have as men is that when we open up, will this be weaponized against me? Will I be emotionally blackmailed with what I've shared? And so when you have brothers that you see are opening up, that are coming to things like this, if you don't know that man today, stop by and tell every black man, thank you. And not because you're thanking for yourself, but you want to thank him for showing up for himself.
Jay.
I cannot tell you how many brothers that have DM'd me thanking me for being connected to Charlamagne, being connected to this movement, because they like, man, I needed to hear this. I needed this information. And this is why I'm always so eager to show up for Charlamagne, because without him ever sharing his story, we don't have this movement. So at this moment, I want every black man in this room to stand on your feet as we close out. I want y'all to look at all of these, ladies, I want y'all to look at all of these black men. Look at all of these black men. Look at all of these black men. And brothers, as we close out, I'm going to speak into your life. I know it's hard right now. You're trying to make money. You're trying to be a father. You're trying to be a brother. You're trying to be a son. You're trying to be everything to everybody. But let me tell you, you can't until you be for you. So today, after you leave here, take a moment of reflexivity, a moment of reflection, and say, man, this is not about having you go to therapy. This is about bringing awareness. Because I don't like coming to things and getting people motivated and you leave them with no tools. This is about taking that opportunity to take this information and say, man, how can I go back to be better? Right. And ladies, I know you want brothers to heal, but let's be very cautious to where you don't want them to heal for them. You want them to heal for you because you want a husband or you want a spouse or whatever. I'm just saying. But again, because I see a lot of that, let's help these brothers get healthy for them. Because black men, when we are healthy, our communities are healthier. And don't leave here feeling unloved today. Because some of you came in here heavy. I hope you leave here light today. I hope you leave here feeling inspired, encouraged, and you feel like you have something to live for. I am tired of hearing DMs of brothers, parents, wives telling me he's taking his life. When Charlamagne called me about Twitch, right? This is a true story. When Twitch passed, I got a message from a kid that had been waiting because I was on the road for 3 weeks. And this lady said, our nephew is trying to wait so he can see you. And this was the hardest thing. And I never said this to Charlamagne because I wanted to be there for him when we was doing the thing for Twitch. The family called me. The kid was waiting to see me. And I get a message after Twitch. The mom said, he just took his life. 16 years old, and she says, Dr. J, we were waiting on you. And can I tell you, that thing sat with me. And so I have vowed, man, I can't be everything to everybody. But brothers, I want you to know that you are loved. And I'm sorry that somebody hurt you. I'm sorry that somebody looked at you and told you that you weren't enough. You felt that you weren't tall enough. You didn't have enough money. You didn't have enough of this. But I'm telling you today that you're enough, black man. Don't leave here the same way that you came. Don't leave here the same way that you came. So I want to close out on the count of 3 of us saying thank you to Charlamagne. Because here's what I vow to do. Every week I buy myself flowers. And I do this because I don't want my funeral to be the first time I receive them. And how dare us come here with Charlamagne using his resources, his influence, and we not say thank you as black men to him.
Thank you,
Because
Charlamagne.
he laid, let me tell you something, brother, it's not easy to put your life on the line. When he started opening up about private things in a public place, that's not easy, that's hard. Because we live in a world that will take your private stuff and do all type of things with it. So I'm grateful for him to always open up his heart to do this. And I know I'm over time. I heart y'all, please forgive me. But I just had, listen, I had to let this out because I don't want brothers to feel not seen when y'all come in and out of this event. So let's thank our brother for being open, but let's thank him for using his resources and his life. So on the count of 3, can we say thank you, Charlamagne? 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Charlamagne. Yeah. Thank you, brother. We love you.